Hey guys, it is the 27th of April. It's the day after the Whispers of the Old God expansion. The servers are a little bit more stable now, so we're not constantly getting disconnected. We can actually open our packs properly, which is nice. Last night I was at a friend's house. We tried opening packs. There are a couple of issues. Got disconnected once or twice. Only managed to play one game. But now, should be good. It's 2 in the afternoon in Australia. The servers are pretty quiet. Let's open some packs. So, with Whispers of the Old God, as soon as you come in and you get any sort of packs, whatever, you get Cthulhu straight up. It's not Seathun. No, don't say it like that. It's Cthulhu. And this guy is a throwback to Anchorage back in Vanilla WoW. A lot of fun back in the day. Big scary boss, lots of eye tentacles, 2 phases, really nasty. Had to be nerfed before anyone really killed him. But long story short, this guy's a badass, and we've been waiting a long time to see these kind of late game cards coming into Hearthstone, because for a very long time the Hearthstone meta has been aggro dominated. The faster the game is, the easier it is for these aggro decks. As more cards have come out, they've gotten faster over time. It's harder for control decks to actually survive until they can play their decks. In fact, a lot of control decks have a lot of cheap cards just so that they can kind of stay on curve and deal with these aggro decks. However, with Standard coming out, a lot of these really powerful options that aggro decks have had in the past are getting phased out. Things like Mad Scientist are just disappearing from the Standard completely, which means that we're going to... aggro decks are going to get a lot less value than they were before, because they just don't have as many good choices to make. And all of the new cards, or not all of them, but a lot of the new cards are very control-oriented, which is great news for someone like me who plays Control Warrior, Control Priest, loves going to Fatigue. I just find that kind of game really good, really satisfying, even though the climb is slow when all of your games are 10 to 20 minutes long. So, here we go. This is Cthulhu. Really nasty. Battlecry, deals a ton of damage. He's only a 6/6, but he gets buffed. And he gets buffed by cards like this. This is Beckoner of Evil. You get a +2/+2 Battlecry for your Cthulhu, wherever he is. So if he's in your deck, your hand, whatever. And I'm sure you guys have seen or will see this mechanic when it comes up. Cthulhu decks are going to be everywhere for at least the first couple of weeks. They're really strong, really noob friendly. Highly recommend getting into Hearthstone now, because this is a great time. So this Becker of Evil, you get it for free, and this is the most vanilla, plain Cthulhu buffing card, but hopefully we're going to get some more of them. So, I'm obviously going to make a Cthulhu deck. It's just great. I love the idea of it. So we have 135 decks here, and 135 packs. And we're going to be opening these up. We've got a small wish list. This is by no means all the cards I want. I'm a collection whore. I love them. I don't dust anything that I don't have duplicates of. So this is my wish list. We have Twin Emperor Veclor. That is the #1 card that I absolutely want. Just cannot live without this card. If I don't get him on these packs, I'm going to craft him straight away. It's that simple. Nat the Darkfisher. Most people are not looking for this card, but I am, because I love playing Fatigue decks, and this guy is just right at the end of the game. You don't want to just play him on turn 2 most of the time, just because you're going to feed your opponent cards, and then that's going to feed them answers. However, playing him late game when they're already low on cards, he's actually a big threat, because he's going to speed up the rate that they get milled, that they start drawing into Fatigue. And so all of a sudden he's a lot scarier than he otherwise would be. Third up is Malkorok. I love Warrior. I'm not a fan of this card overall, but I feel that I will find a place for him. He would be so much better if Cursed Blade wasn't a thing, but until Grand Tournament, I believe it came out, gets cycled out of Standard. Malkorok is always going to have that chance of just instantly losing you the game by giving you a Cursed Blade. It's going to happen, and to me, I hate RNG. Well, I hate the kind of RNG that will just lose you a game flat out. So I probably won't play this guy a whole lot. I'll tinker with him a little bit though. Next up, Herald Village, Priest, my second favourite class. He's just amazing. Really good. Summons copies of your existing minions, which keeps their effects in play. So things like, obviously, Ragnaros is one of the biggest examples. You'll have two guys that will just nuke the board every turn. Big combo card, a lot of potential, really want to play with it. And finally, N'Zoth the Corruptor. Battlecry is to resummon your Death Rattles that you've played this game. Neutral card, so lots of potential. He can play him in any deck, just like Cthulhu. So really looking forward to just playing that, having a ball. Death Rattle effects are always a lot of fun. And finally, the epics that I want, I am looking for an Ancient Harbinger. Just one. I don't really need two of them, but just one to enable the cycle for Cthulhu. Just to make sure that he's a little bit more consistent, and also in a whole suite of other decks which have 10 drops. A lot of those 10 drop cards are going to be more popular with this expansion, and Ancient Harbinger, I think, just for one of them in your deck is going to help cycle through and get those cards. So let's get started. We're going to be going through this pretty quickly. I'm going to talk a little briefly about each card, or not each card, but the big cards that we get. Nothing particularly good here. But I do have a lot of cards on my wish list, and this is one of them. Disciple of Cthulhu, Battlecry deal 2 damage, buffs your Cthulhu, also Battlecry, so it's all doubled up by Bran. He's a 2/1 for 3. He's effectively Argent Horse Rider. Instead of the Divine Shield and Charge, you get Battlecry for 2 damage. Exactly the same thing. So that is auto-include in every Cthulhu deck. So if you want to make one, start with that guy. Next up, Hooded Acolyte, pretty good for the Priest deck. Looking forward to that. The improved Burgle, 2 mana 2/2 for Rogue that comes with a body. Very good compared to the original Burgle. Twilight Elder, really good in control style Cthulhu decks that are going to have a lot of options for removing opponents. Cards like Warrior. You're going to have Bash, Execute, Shield Slam, all of the usual stuff for Warrior. Twilight Elder is going to get a lot more value in a Warrior deck compared to a lot of the others like Druid, which is going to be really popular for Cthulhu. Shifting Shade. This is one that's been on my hit list. It's Death Rattle for a mini Thought Steal. Love it. A lot of value. Card advantage. Great. Kabbalist Tomb. If you want to play Yogg-Saron. Great again. Not much to say about all that though. Just really happy that we're getting the Shifter card and the Shade. Cthulhu's Chosen. Smashing out these Cthulhu cards in the early game. So this is 4/2 Divine Shield. Buffs Cthulhu. All around a good card. Not quite at the same kind of threat level as Shredder. People have compared him to Shredder before. Shredder's a 4/3 that death rattles into summoning a minion. This guy is a 4/2 with Divine Shield, so he's kind of got that 2 life effect, but the Divine Shield can just be pinged off. He's a little bit weaker than Shredder, but the Battlecry buff synergizes with Cthulhu. That's what we want. So let's have a look at what we get here. Just waiting for our first one. We got a Doom here. Waiting for our first legendary, but this is Doom. Interesting. I don't know where he's going to fit in. Warlock normally doesn't have a problem drawing cards, so seems a bit of an anti-synergy there, but we will see how it pans out. Not much to say there. Blood to Icar, very good. Looking forward to playing around with that as well. It'll go well with the new Taunt and Rage Infested Tauren card, which I'm hoping to pick up. Dark Arakoa, probably one of the strongest cards in the set. Common, 3/3 buff to Cthulhu, 6 mana 5/7 Taunt. Even if he didn't buff Cthulhu with the strongest buff in the game at 3/3, he'd be playable. So yeah, this is the reason, or this plus standard, innovate, wild growth, ramp mechanics for Druid is the reason that Druid is going to play a lot of Cthulhu. Watch out for it. Cool, last one there. Cool. Adult Grizzly is nice. Power Tentacles, it's a bit iffy. That Inner Fire synergy, woo! Not much going on there. Scram Cultist, probably the weakest of the Cthulhu buffing cards. 6 mana 7/6. It's not much going on there. He's a little bit slow. You really want some value when you play your 6 drops, and he doesn't give much. Faceless Shambler, very cool. Neutral minion, can't complain about that. Stormcrack, Crackle 2.0, less random. A lot of the time with Crackle, you're just hoping you don't roll a 3, so Stormcrack is kind of in the same ballpark. You're not going to get 6s, but you're not going to get 3s. So, reliable. Demented Frostcaller down there, the mage card. That looks really cool to freeze minions and freeze the enemy character. We'll see how it goes. Looks like it synergizes well with things like Frost Nova and Blizzard as well, that freeze the whole board. Not much going on there. Marquis Charge again, or however you want to pronounce that. It's a weird name. Polluted Hoarder, second Twilight Elder, but we're going to get a lot of these. They're commons. That's all good. Faceless Behemoth. This isn't Arena. Call of the Wild. This is a card that is going to maybe reinvent the way Hunter is played. We don't know yet. But it's going to have a big impact. 8 mana to get all 3 of your dudes out is a big deal. Nerubian Prophet. Looking forward to playing that card a lot, especially in these kind of control-y games. Because the Nerubian dude will just... He'll sit in your hand, and then eventually you'll be able to clear the board and play him for free. And you get a lot of value out of that, which is going to be useful in decks that rely on getting a lot of value out of their cards. Who knew, right? But otherwise you can play him on turn 3 as a 4/4 3-drop, which is never bad. Not much going on there. Forbidden Ritual, probably the weakest of the Forbidden cards, unfortunately. Good Knife Juggler synergy, but not much else going on. There's the Nerubian Prophet again, 2 of them. Master Evolution, one of the 2 new Evolve cards. They look really strong for Shaman. So we will see how Shaman pans out, whether it's going to stay hyper-aggressive or if it's going to start panning out to more of a control or at least mid-game oriented kind of deck. But I'm thinking it's going to be more of a mid-game, looking to threaten the board from turn 4 and really trying to take games from turn 8 or 9. What do we got here? Steward of Darkshire, because Paladin aggro will never die. Oh, we got a legendary, and it is Malkarok! Cross him off the list. Do-do-do-do. Bam, gone. Thank you very much, Malkarok. And Infestator, this is another card that I was talking about before. Taunt, Death Rattle for Slime, he's a really mini belcher. Warrior specifically has a slightly better one, which is Enrage 2/6, I believe. We'll open him up later, I really hope. So, here we go. We're doing well. We're like 20 odd packs in, and we've got our first legendary, so hopefully we'll get 2 more. And look, there we go. Bloodhoof Brave. 2/6, 4-drop, Taunt, Enrage for 3 is a good card. Especially when you combine it with Blood to Ichor here. So you'll be able to play your Bloodhoof Brave. If they don't attack into him, you'll be able to enable the Enrage and get good trades with Blood to Ichor. And Ravaging Ghoul, obviously, as well. 3 mana, 3/3, built-in Whirlwind on everyone except him. Lots of synergy in Warrior. Cult Sorcerer, Golden. Probably the best Mage Cthulhu enabling card. Not much to say about it. I don't think I'm going to be playing much Mage Cthulhu to start with, but it's nice to have a Golden card. More Goldens. Evolve. Thank you. This is definitely one of the cards I'll be playing with later. Getting a Golden one. Never going to complain about that. Come on. Click the cards. There we go. Thing from below. Shifting Shade again. Not much to say. Shifting Shade we've already talked about. Obviously, it's going to be almost an auto-include in every priest deck going forward for now. I assume, at least. Not much going on there. Grotesque Dragonhawk. Very, very boring. Like all of the other Dragonhawks. Disciple of Cthulhu. I believe this is number 2. Good to get it out of the way. Makes you feel good. Light of the Darkness. I don't know. We'll see how that card plays out. I don't think Paladin needs a whole lot more 2-drops early game, but we'll see how it goes. Stand Against Darkness. The new muster. Not as good. Bit slower. See how that goes as well. A lot of these cards that we're seeing are obviously just going to be, like Polluted Hoarder, perfect example. It's like your Loot Hoarder, but it's a little bit slower, otherwise just a copy of existing cards. And we're seeing a lot of that in this release, is slower versions of existing cards. Bloody Ancient One! Not much value by himself, but if we get a second one, we might play around with that. Obviously, you can face into it to get the effect, but not crazy about it. Whispers of the Old Gods, even less crazy about that. Dark Whispers didn't work out. I don't know why they thought this one would either, even though it's neutral. Bloodhoof Brave again, another Forbidden Ritual. That's the rare one. Most of them are epic, so unsurprisingly we'll get more of those. One of my mates opened Fandral. Congratulations to him. Not much going on there. I wouldn't mind a Fandral. I'm not a big Druid player, but Fandral looks like he's gonna really help out with that kind of early to mid-range Druid. He's a threat on the board. He kind of serves the same purpose as Bran. He doesn't do a lot by himself, but he threatens a potential combo, and so your opponents are going to have to deal with him. A bit like Baron Ruvendare did back in Naxxramas, although he never really saw much play. They threaten a much bigger combo later on. Eater of Secrets, unfortunately, Christmas Tree Paladin is pretty much dead at the moment, but if it ever decided to come back, Eater of Secrets will be there waiting to completely ruin Mysterious Challenges Day. Who am I? Outdated. Here we go. Nat the Darkfisher. I am nailing these off my wish list. That's 2 out of 2, and they are both cards that I wanted. Thank you very much. Obviously, Twin Emperors is worth, to me, is worth more than all the others combined. But Nat the Darkfisher, not complaining. We can always craft Vector if we don't get him. What have we got coming up now? Undercity Huckster, again, that's the mini Burgle. Really cool. I like the idea of it. The Psychotron, the improved Annoyabot, a little bit weaker. Doesn't really fill the same purpose as Annoyatron. Exclusive, like just objectively weaker than a Sunwalker. There it is again, Psychotron. So it's a 3-4 for 5. Sunwalker is a 4-5 for 6. Taunt Divine Shield. Sunwalker's just better. It's better value overall. So I don't think this will see much play with Goblins vs. Gnomes gone. Mech is losing a lot of its synergies. So yeah, maybe in Wild it'll get a bit of play in Poor Man's Mech Mage. I don't know. Not much going on there. Also, in the deck before, the pack before this one, we saw Shadow Strike. It's the improved backstab. 3 mana, deal 5 damage to our undamaged minion. That is a huge tempo play for the rogues, and they really need something like that. With the nerf to Blade Flurry, they're going to need other options for clearing the board as they move towards a different archetype. Vilefin Inquisitor, interesting. Really enables that Murloc Paladin that we all hate so much, but with Old Murkai going, we'll see how it goes. Maybe we'll get more value out of Murloc cards later on, and there's a few Murlocs in this deck, mid-range Murlocs, stuff that does like damage to all non-Murloc minions, that kind of thing. So we'll see how it pans out. It's nice to have one, I'll play with it later. And Midnight Drake, the reverse of Twilight Drake, should see play. Not quite as valuable as Twilight Drake, I feel, though. There we go, there's the Corrupted Seer. Deal 2 damage to all non-Murloc minions. 6 mana, 2/3, comes with a Demon Wrath, rebranded. It's okay. Feral Rage is a pretty good card as well. I'm looking forward to playing with that in Druid. Got both of the Tauren Taunts there. Very interesting, but we've already got 2 of each of them. We haven't got a lot of the essential, well, not really essential, but Cthulhu cards that I've been chasing after. Stuff like the Doomcaller. I think one Doomcaller is going to be really useful just for re-enabling your win condition in Cthulhu decks, especially in Warrior and Priest, which can heal themselves, gain armor, gain health, and stall the game out even later. Blood Twicker again, very nice. So, yeah, I think Doomcaller definitely has a place in Warrior and Priest. A lot less in the other classes, though. They just don't have the sustain. Maybe Mage, but we'll see how that goes. What do we got here? Divine Strength, yeah, good card for trading. Doomcaller, that's nice though. So we've got the one Doomcaller that I was after. I'm not sure if I opened one earlier, but at least that's off my mind. Dark Speaker, I'm actually looking forward to this card. Battle Cry to swap stats with a friendly minion. It doesn't sound great because he's a 3/6, but when you're going to be swapping his stats with a creature you've already got on the board, you're going to get some really good trades with this card. It's got a lot of potential. And just swapping to protect an existing card that has an ongoing effect, or I'm thinking not so much like the Twilight Priestess, the Youthful Priestess, whatever she is, that gives extra health, and the Swordsman that buffs the attack of other guys. Obviously, those aren't cards that we see a whole lot, but those are the kind of things that you're going to want to use with him if you want to get full value out of him. Otherwise, just really good for trading. Twilight Darkmender. If your Cthulhu has a 10 attack, restore 10 health. Not quite as good as the Warrior one, which I'm hoping to dig up. It's only a rare. The Ancient Shield Bearer, I believe it's called. But yeah, one of those Cthulhu cards that is just going to drag the game out, make it go longer, and that's exactly what Priest and Warrior love. Is just dragging the game out, taking it later, and getting closer to that inevitable stage where the game is yours to lose then. Dark Arakoas, Klaxi Amberweavers, Druid card. Obviously, Druid Cthulhu cards are very good with Dark Arakoa, so Druid deck with Cthulhu is going to be nice, and this guy to get a 4/10 for 4 is going to be good. You're normally going to play him from turn 6 onwards, so you're always going to have another card to play with him, or at least hero power, so yeah, he's going to have a place. Forbidden Flame, one of the better cards for the Forbidden set, are just going to be standard removal, very flexible. You can spend as much or as little as you like, depending on what cards you play before it. Just all around good, flexible card, and flexibility is huge in games like this in Hearthstone. Golden Evolve number 2, thank you very much. We are almost halfway through these now. And it's good because I've already got 2 cards off my wish list. So all the librarians. Scarum Cultist again, not much to say about him. Hooded Acolyte, that's a good card. Whenever a character is healed, so obviously huge synergy with Circle of Healing, Holding Over, it's going to be fun to play around with that card. Pretty much at any point where Northshire Cleric would draw you cards, he's got a buff Cthulhu. Can't really lose in that situation. He's just overall a good card and a threat that needs to be dealt with in the same way that Northshire Cleric has always been for Priest. Your opponents will bend over backwards to try and get rid of them. Golden Librarian, keeping in our theme of drawing lots and lots of librarians. Whenever a friendly minion dies, give you a Cthulhu +1/+1, because Zoo Cthulhu could be a thing. And Blade of Cthulhu has a lot of potential. Could make for some crazy plays, and I believe the very first time we actually saw this card in play, it killed a Cthulhu and buffed the Cthulhu in the deck by like 16/16. So yeah, huge potential. Don't know how Rogue is going to go, but if Rogue Cthulhu becomes a thing, that card will definitely be in there. Disciple Cthulhu, Usher of Souls, all the stuff we've got before. We will see. We must be coming up to another legendary soon, guys. Golden Journey Below. Librarians. The Amgar Rager. It's the 1/5 in contrast to the Magma Rager. Hey, Ancient Harbinger! Woo! Cross it off the list. Where are we? Boom. Got him. So, yeah. This card, 6 mana 4/6. not good stats overall, but at the start of your turn, put a 10 cost minion from your deck into your hand. So it's not instant. If this was a battle cry, it would be really good. But it's at the start of your turn, which means that if nothing else, he's a 6-drop where your opponent has to deal with him. They can't just go face and hope everything will be okay, especially if it's already turn 9, and as soon as this guy comes out, you will have Cthulhu or another big threat in your hand ready to go. So yeah, he's like Northside Cleric, Knife Juggler, all of those kind of cards that we know you have to deal with as soon as they come out. Shadow Strike, what I was talking about before, that's a gold one. Excellent. Come on, legendaries. Nothing. Yeah, Amgar Rager. His flavor text is power creep backwards. The Hearthstone team really like their inside jokes and their meta commentary of the community. I really enjoy that. They love those little jokes. And it seems we're getting a lot of them. Shadow Word Horror. Destroy all minions with 2 or less attack. That would have been great if it weren't for standard and it weren't for this deck set. It would be a great card previously, but I think the game is moving away from that kind of playstyle, and I don't think it's going to get as much value as we would like. But Shadowcaster will. Great card. 5 mana, 4/4. Can't complain too much about the body. Should at least trade evenly with creatures already on the board, but add a 1/1 copy of a minion that you have on the board, and it costs 1. Just great synergy with Raptor Rogue, great synergy with a lot of their late game cards. A 1/1 Sylvanas is almost better than a 5/5 Sylvanas in many situations. Can't complain. Legendary! Zaryl the Poison Mind, one of the paragons of the Klaxi from Mr. Pandaria. Battlecry and Death Rattle, add a random toxin card to your hand. The toxin cards are a bunch of low-cost spells. I think they're all 2-cost spells, maybe 1 cost. I don't remember. Haven't looked into that card a whole lot, but yeah, they just have things like one of them is draw a card, one of them is give a minion +3 attack. They're like spare parts, but on speed. They're a little bit better than spare parts. No complaints. Here's just a good rogue card to drop in if you've got 29 cards at the end of the day and don't know what to put in. Kind of like a Van Cleef, just, you're probably not going to build a deck around him, but he fits into a lot of rogue decks just by nature of being powerful. Double epics. Dolphin Inquisitor number 3 or 4, Darkspeaker number 2, happy about that. Master of Evolution again, liking it. Things Chosen, Disciple of Cthulhu, cards that I'll be using. Infest, because everything needs to be a web spinner apparently. And the old Release the Hounds Infest 6 mana combo is the new way to refill your hand as a hunter apparently. I think Hunter, out of all of the classes, Hunter could actually be getting faster rather than slower. We'll see. I think Hunter is really going to want to dump their hand very quickly in this expansion to make room for all of these cards that you're going to be getting from cards like Infest. So, we'll see how we go. 46 decks left after this. We've got 3. We're pretty much on curve. I'm happy with how we're going. We've gotten good legendaries. There's no boogie monster yet, thankfully. I do say yet, though. I don't doubt that if we get enough legendaries, he'll pop up. Hey, Golden Psychotron. That's actually pretty cool with the flaming guitar. It's very Mad Max Fury Road. Look at that. I like it. Yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to playing around with this and making some good decks, some late game control decks, and we'll see how the community responds to see what's going to come out of this, because Cthulhu decks are very interesting because all of the... Very nice, by the way. All of the Cthulhu cards, or at least the vast majority of them, are on solid bodies. They're just good creatures. Like, they're not river crocolisk's, you know, they're actually good cards. They've got good stats, often premium stats for their cost, and there's always that looming threat of the Cthulhu at the end of the day. And a lot of people are talking about how you're going to deal with Cthulhu cards. Ooh, nice, gold, very good. People are talking about how they're going to deal with the Cthulhu, but I think the goal to beating Cthulhu decks is going to be winning the board, and winning the board against all of these just strong minions is not going to be easy. So we'll see what kind of decks start to climb the ranks. Oh, hello, Anomalous. Mage is one of the weaker ones, I'd like to say. I mean, big body, Death Rattle. He's like a really big Doomsayer combined with a War Golem. Not much to say. He does his thing. If they kill him, it kills everything. You're probably playing, if you play him, you're probably behind. And if he gets silenced before he gets killed, you're still got to be behind. Don't know, not much to say. But yeah, about the Cthulhu decks, dealing with them is going to largely come down to dealing with the board and making sure that they don't get too far ahead on the board. Because when they play Cthulhu, if you don't have any creatures, you're dead. You need creatures on the board to soak the damage from the Cthulhu Battlecry. Some people are getting cute. They're putting things like Mana Wraiths into their decks. Mana Wraith would be good, but the predominant Cthulhu class is going to be Druid. Like, that's just unavoidable, and Druids will always be able to innovate out their Cthulhu if it costs 11, so it's not going to impact them too much. So dealing with the board is going to be super important for Cthulhu decks, and as such, when you're building a Cthulhu deck, all of your cards that are not part of that Cthulhu synergy, they need to be able to give you and maintain board presence and really keep you in the game until you get to that late stage point. Not much going on there. Giant Sandworm, if you've got the charged Rhino, he's pretty cool because he's a beast, but otherwise he will probably just fall over and die. Not bad. Golden Steward of Darkshire. I'll play him in my Paladin deck that I'll inevitably make. At this point, we've pretty much got all of the commons and a lot of the rares, so there's not a lot interesting other than some of the epics, and definitely legendaries is what we're looking for. We've still got 3 cards on our wish list. Selfless Hero. Yeah. Thistletea is actually a really interesting card. It's kind of like a preemptive gang up, less control over it. It's still fairly slow. You draw a card and you get 2 copies of it, so you get really good card value. In a way, it's a lot better than drawing 3 cards, but it is 6 mana. I think it'll mostly get prepped into the same way that Sprint is. At the moment, Sprint is a 7-drop for 4 mana, and if you hard Sprint, in other words, you just sprint for 7, then it's normally a desperation move. I think Thistletea will fill the same kind of niche. But there's a lot of potential on it. If you get 3 deadly poisons out of it, then you're absolutely laughing. If you get 3 Van Cleefs, then that's just weird. But there's a lot of potential. Rogue normally has pretty valuable cards, and a lot of the way that the Rogue will play from that point on is going to come from what card they draw multiples of. But it might be a little bit too slow for standard play. Grace Worshipper, probably the weakest of the Cthulhu buffing cards. He's got Taunt, He's not too bad, I guess. He's only he's a 3/6 for a 5. It's okay. He's not actually the weakest. The weakest is definitely the one that gives your Cthulhu taunt, because if you play your Cthulhu, your opponent will probably have to deal with him, and whether he has or doesn't have taunt isn't going to make much of a difference in most games. Unless, of course, you would just die to whatever they have on the board after Cthulhu comes out. I don't see that happening. They would have to have a crazy big board to survive the Cthulhu battle cry, and then have lethal and not need to deal with the Cthulhu. Golden Twilight Elder. Happy about that. Better than my non-golden shit cards. Woo. Primal Infusion's actually pretty interesting. There's a lot of totem synergy, especially from the Grand Tournament, TGT. So maybe we'll see a return of the Thunder Bluff 3/6 that buffs your totem with Inspire guy. I forgot his name. Thunder Bluff Totemic or something? No. But whatever his name is, Valiant, that's the one. Thunder Bluff Valiant. We'll see a lot more of him, the Tuskar Totemic, with that kind of card. But, I don't know, maybe it's just going to be too slow, maybe we're not going to get enough value from the totems and it won't come out. But Shaman is in such a good place, I don't think they need, they particularly need that card. They're already in a great spot. Come on, we really want to get one more legendary out of these last 9 packets now. But if we don't get Vector, I'm just going to craft him straight up as soon as we get out of this. Okay, Infested Wolf is really good as well. Like a mini Jaime. Oh, we got Halazeel. Talking about Shaman. Shaman is going to have a lot of different options, and a lot of them are mid-range and control options, and this guy is going to get you there. He is such a good card. You really can't say enough about him. If you're playing mid-range and control, you're going to lose health. Like, that's inevitable. Your health will drop below 30, and this guy will get it right back up there when it's important, before you get into lethal range of a lot of these decks. So, like, a Halazeel combined with, say, Stormcrack, it heals you for 4. He's that persistent threat on the board. Your opponent has to deal with him, even though he doesn't necessarily do anything by himself, but they have to get rid of him. He's got 4 attacks, so priests are going to struggle to get rid of him, and priest versus shaman has generally been priest favored, so he's even better in that matchup. Just, yeah, this guy is great. Absolutely great. In fact, if I was a regular shaman player, he would probably be topping my my wish list up here. So, yeah, just glad to have him. Saves me from crafting him later. Ooh, Golden Ancient Harbinger. Beautiful. So that'll be the one that I put into the deck, because golden cards are obviously better in every way. Another Golden Steward of Darkshire. I believe that's the second. I wasn't really keeping track. It might be the third though, but disenchanting golden cards is fun. 70 Yogg-Saron. Cast a random spell that costs 5 or less as a battle cry. What are you going to do? It costs 5. It's good value, I guess. But a lot of that RNG that, as I talked about before, I'm not a fan of. But I think we're happy from this. We got 4 legendaries, 2 off the wish list straight away, and 2 otherwise good legendaries. But last pack, see how we go. Obviously I've saved a little bit of gold here because I want to do some arena in a couple of days, but I might just buy some more packs with that later on. And there we go, that's it. So, when you are done here, when you first sign in, you will get a special quest to get 5 more Old Gods packs from winning 2 games in the standard format. Most people will want to open their Old Gods packs first, if you have bought any, or at least the 3 that you get when you first log in, just so that you have some more options for your standard decks, because obviously standard you're using the basic and classic cards, and then the previous 2-3 sets, it's TGT, and Blackrock Mountain, so 3 sets. So yeah, you'll want more options, but once you complete 2 games with it, you'll get this. You do need to win them, but yeah, that should be pretty easy. Win 2 games, get 5 more packs, and expand your collection a bit more. And I've got Paladin Warrior left over. I really should have finished that the other day, but I ran out of time. And Druid, because Druid Cthulhu. Anyway, I'm going to get deck building, and I will catch you guys later.